Hello everyone, it is Wednesday again, and that means it's time for another Crack-A-Pack. And I recorded actually last week's and this one's back to back, so I can make sure I got them done with, and you can see them. And we are doing another Modern Masters 2017 pack. This will be the last one we're doing a Crack-A-Pack with. We had some pretty sweet value in our last pack with Stony Silence. Let's see what we get in this particular pack. Remember, with this pack, I'll be talking about how I feel about it in terms of limited most of all. So what would I be first picking out of this pack is kind of what we're looking at. All right, so our first common is Goblin Electromancer. Card that's key in modern Storm decks and modern Pyromancer Ascension decks. It's not really that great to first pick, though, in this format. There is a blue-red control deck that has lots of instants in it, or blue-red-black even, and he's fine in that, but I don't want to be first picking him. He's not powerful enough for that. Next up, we have Arachnus Web. Right now, this is our first pick. Certainly nothing great. It's a solid green common, though. I think I had it rated as my third best green common in the format. Can shut down creatures. If they get too big, it falls off, but it also turns off their activated abilities, and you can shut them down for a turn, even if the web is going to fall off at the end step. So it has value no matter what. Even if the creature's too big, you can still stop it from being able to block for a turn, and that's relevant. Next up, we have a Guildgate. We got Simic Guildgate in this case. I mentioned in the last video, they're not really first pickable. I think Trilands and Signets are. The Guildgates usually aren't, but they are great if you want to be fixing, so keep your eye out for them. So I'm still on Arachnus Web. Next, we have Agony Warp, which is a pretty powerful card. Oftentimes it's going to be a removal spell plus a combat trick. You can sometimes get a 2-for-1 with it if the board state is right. And usually you can at least kill one thing with it, so it's pretty good. Because it's gold, though, I think I'd still take Arachnus Web over it at this point. But Agony Warp is great in a blue-black deck. Next up, we have Bone Splinters, which is mostly there for red-black decks or any sort of deck that makes a lot of tokens, because it's not good otherwise, basically. You have to be unearthing or making a lot of fodder creatures, like from Dragon Fodder, for it to be worth playing. But it is a good card in those decks. Next, we have Slime Molding. A solid green card. Still not what I'm first picking. I'd take Arachnus Web still. Just makes a big ooze token. Works pretty well with Populate. It's one of the best things you can do with Populate because you can make a 5/5 ooze and then start making copies of it. And there aren't a lot of tokens that are bigger than that. So it's one of the best things you can do. Next up, we have Pit Keeper. Perfectly solid card. Very playable card in basically any black deck. But Arachnus Web is still better. It's nice because it can draw you a card from your graveyard sometimes, and other times it's just a 2-mana 2/1, which is fine. Next, we have Graceful Reprieve, a card that I don't like a lot. It's there, I think, as a way for blue-white blink decks to get another trigger out of their creatures that have good into the battlefield abilities, like splicers and stuff. But it's nothing exciting, and I would play it if I had enough creatures with into the battlefield abilities. Still don't want to be first picking it, though. Still on Arachnus Web. Next, we have Spire Monitor. A very good card in any control deck, basically, because there's actually reasonable counter magic in this format and other instant spells that you just want to leave your mana up for. And if you don't see a reason to use those, you can just flash in Spire Monitor and start trying to win in the air, and it's nice that it's a common. Still, though, on Arachnus Web. Next, we have Traitorous Instinct. Combos well with our Bone Splinters. Goes well in the red-black deck because you already have a bunch of sacrifice things going on, and then if you can steal your opponent's creature, hit them with it, and then sacrifice it to Bone Splinters, you probably just won the game. So that's the real reason Traitorous Instinct is here. If you're not in a deck that can actually sacrifice creatures, don't play Traitorous Instinct. Still not as good as Arachnus Web. Okay, well now things are getting interesting. We got Gruul Signet. And I think for me, that's better than Arachnus Web. Arachnus Web isn't premium removal. Gruul Signet is great. You don't even have to play these colors for it to be really good, but it's fixing, and it's mana ramp. You go to 4 mana on the next turn with the help of your Signet, and that is a big deal, and the fixing is as well. So Gruul Signet's what we're looking at right now over Arachnus Web. Next, we have Tattermunge Witch, sort of there for the red-green token go wide deck because it can make them all bigger and hit harder and make it so your opponent blocking them isn't as easy as it might otherwise be. Still not gonna, I would take Arachnus Web or Gruul Signet over her, but she's great in that red-green deck. Okay, now we have Harmonize. Nice green card, just 4 mana, draw 3 cards. Green has been pretty good in this pack between this and Arachnus Web. I think I would still take Gruul Signet over it, but I do like Harmonize a lot. It's now ahead of Arachnus Web for me. Yeah, for sure. I would take Gruul Signet, then Harmonize, then Arachnus Web at this point. All right, our rare is not that great in, just like last week, is not that great in Limited, and that is Summoning Trap. So, you know, it does some things sometimes. It's good and constructed because of some of the silly things it can do and it can punish. Although right now in Modern, there's not a lot of counter spells other than Remand. But it lets you cheat something into play. That's fun. If you end up with Gristlebrand in your deck, probably play Summoning Trap. That's about it, really, though. Not especially playable in Limited. Oh, we do have foil, though. And it's a pretty foil. It is Thunderous Wrath. I think all these packs have foils, but a foil Thunderous Wrath. Thunderous Wrath is a very good card. I think I would still take Gruul Signet over it, but I also think Thunderous Wrath is now our second best card. It's great because it's an instant speed 5 damage spell, and it has the miracle cost, which is ridiculous when you can pay 1 to do 5 to something. That's nuts, and that'll happen. And so, in the end, this pack was a little more complicated than last week. Last week's pack was a little weaker. In the end, I'm going to show you my top 4 again. I think we take Gruul Signet. Signets are just great. They help you ramp. There's lots of good stuff to be ramping into in this format. They also help you fix. Lots of reasons to be fixing in this format. Then Thunderous Wrath, our second highest pick. Then Harmonize, a nice little draw spell for green. And then finally the Arachnus Web, which we started with. But in the end, I think I take Gruul Signet. So let me know in the comments what you would take. Also, don't forget to comment below if you want to make sure you can be entered to win the cards from this Crack-A-Pack and all the other Crack-A-Packs from this month. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button. If you want to make sure you see more of my Crack-A-Packs, don't forget to subscribe. And also, my content sponsored in part by 5colorcombo.com, who right now is doing a very cool Kickstarter. You can find the link to that in the description below. They're a great website for Magic the Gathering stuff in general, but the thing they're probably the most well-known for is their unique tokens and playmats. And they have a bunch of new ones coming your way very soon, and you can enter into their Kickstarter, donate to their Kickstarter to get some of these tokens and playmats sooner, basically. It's a pre-sale of these goods. So you should go ahead and check out the link below, see if you want to donate, see if you want to get some sweet tokens, such as the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse as zombie tokens, which I think sounds pretty freaking cool. So that does it for this week's Crack-A-Pack. Thanks for watching.